Master of Ceremonies, that's Mark Jones.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm going back in the day now with Mark Jones, who's an MC and awards host, very close ties to Manchester United. Boo, don't like that. But my dad's a massive Man United fan. Now, your name is interesting, Mark Jones, because my dad often talks about growing up in Ashfield, supporting Man United, listening to them on the radio. Yeah. And he always mentions the, well, he always used to, as the Munich air disaster. So your name's sort of tied to that, isn't it?
Ever so slightly. The plaque at Old Trafford has all the names, Tommy Taylor and Whelan and Roger Byrne and Duncan Edwards. And the very first one, I don't know why, it just says Mark Jones. He was a neighbour of my parents, so I'm named after a United player. I was actually born in Old Trafford, and I've had 100 years at Radio City in Liverpool. Wow. How's that for diplomacy?
So how did you get into radio initially?
It's the old thing, you do discos.
Yeah.
Back in the days when you used to put needles on.
What sort of year we're talking about?
Oh, it was black and white.
Okay.
That's the closest you're going to get.
Beatles, Rolling Stones?
Yeah. Sort of later. Sort of a bit later than that, doing discos. But then you sort of do a tape. I did a tape for BBC Radio Manchester, the local BBC station. And just one off, got a copy of that, edit. Yeah. Naively thought, everybody's going to send a tape to Piccadilly, which was the Manchester station, which was 73. And instead of that, a couple of years later, I sent a tape to Radio City in Liverpool, not thinking that everybody in Liverpool's going to be sending a tape there. And just a guy just went, I'm too good for this, doing the overnights, walked out, and my tape was on the top of the pile. And I got a phone call on a Thursday night, Thursday, the 12th of February, 76. Can you do 2 till 6 in the morning on Radio City in Liverpool? I thought it was one of my pals.
And what was you talking about on that radio show?
It was an overnight programme, so it's music. Yeah. In those days, you didn't have much needle time, but clever devil here noticed that the BBC stuff was not needle time. Yeah. So I used to put, like, the Goons on and the Hancocks. So you've got half an hour, and me and the security guy, Bert, on the door. We're the only two in the building. Yeah. I used to get in my car, put the Goons on, get in my car, dash down to the pier head, get a bacon butty, listening to it all the time, hoping that the record's not stuck, and then dashing back.
So a big fan of the Goons, was you?
Oh, yeah. Goons, Hancock, all that type.
I like Tony Hancock, actually. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up in Ashfield in the 70s, we only had a few LPs in the house. We had Elvis's 40 Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
We had a Buddy Holly LP, because Mum and Dad were into
20 Golden Grapes, that one.
Something like that. And we had Hancock's Half Hour, which was the Blood Donor. And the Radio Ham.
Yeah.
2 really famous sketches from Hancock's Half Hour.
I've got the set of those.
So you sort of, you sort of grow up enjoying that sort of stuff.
Oh, God, yeah.
And appreciating that
that moves on from the Goons, that moves on to Python. And Python was all conquering when I was at school. Yeah. Public school, so...
Public school?
Oh, don't.
Another posh boy on the show.
I wipe my feet on the way in, don't worry. Yeah. But it was just Python changes your life. Yeah. If you get it and it sinks in, you're quoting...
To be honest with you, I actually like the films better than the actual series.
Yeah.
I got Life of Brian and...
it's more commercial and easier accessible.
I just thought it was funnier. Because I think some of the jokes they did in the actual series were for themselves rather than the public.
They admitted that. Yeah. And it's very dated because it's all Edward Heath and stuff like that, so yeah.
But you move from all that, Mark, and then go to be doing these awards around the world, close ties to Man United, doing their awards ceremony every year. So you're coming across on a yearly basis, some big footballing stars, some big legends, and you're handing these awards out. How does that feel when these mega stars are coming onto the stage?
It's strange because I took over, 2001 from the late Tony Wilson, Anthony H, on TV. And he's done interviews with Thatcher, Heath, all the big names, and quite antagonistic type interviews. But when he was introducing Ryan Giggs and David Beckham, he went to pieces. Really? So by coincidence, a pal of mine who sadly died a couple of months ago, Chaz, phoned an agency and they got me. And I've done it ever since. We're just pals. It transpired we were both born in the same hospital and blah, blah, blah. So it's second nature because of the radio side of things. It's not an arrogant thing.
Did you ever get starstruck when these come
Never.
on? Never.
I don't know why. And I've done I've interviewed Michael Jackson many times, done his concerts, Paul McCartney, Phil Collins, Kate Bush. I've done all those.
So you're not starstruck now coming on here?
Well,
TV News?
there's always a first.
There's a first, isn't there? Concerts as well. What's this? You did MC at concerts as well?
I've done I've done a few big ones. Michael Jackson was 125,000 people, which was sponsored by Radio.
Where was that at?
Aintree Racecourse.
Oh, yeah.
That was good. I had 100,000 people because I wasn't allowed to play music, and I was on from like 12 o'clock till 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like that. God, it was cold. Yeah. And I got 100,000 people going da, 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 doing a conga around the place. I've done that. Paul McCartney concerts in Liverpool. I did the Sopot Music Festival in Gdansk in Poland with Lech Wałęsa there. This was a few months after the wall had come down, and there's big guys, almost parodies of spies. They've got the plastic Mac on, and ill-fitting jackets with large bulges. They're all sat round him.
Ill-fitting jackets with large bulges. I think that'll have to go on after 9.
Yeah, I know.
As well. So
I thought I was bad. You're beating me.
It's not me. Yeah. We have to be careful on this show. And fundraisers as well. That's on your list.
I do a lot of fundraisers.
What was your chosen charity, if you have one?
You tell me. I've done quite a few. Recent one was at the Cavern, which was for suicide prevention. Raised a lot of money there.
Good. That's one of my chosen charities.
Done a few.
Especially male suicide as well.
Absolutely, yeah. A couple of weekends. In fact, last weekend I was about 2 miles up the road doing a fundraiser for the Sammy Joe Brandon Foundation, which was a young lady that died of cancer. I do a lot of cancer research because I lost somebody who had cancer.
I think cancer touches most families.
Oh, absolutely. So, I verge on gullible. If I can help, go for it.
Yeah.
I haven't got a halo. I'm not a saint.
Any plans for the future? What's on your bucket list? Because you've done a lot, haven't you, really?
Yeah. Do you know, I've never actually... That's a good one. Never thought of that.
And you've met all these famous stars. If you were to have a dinner party tonight, you can invite 2 famous sports stars or rock stars or whatever. Who would you have sat with you?
Pete Townsend, Roger Daltrey. I would have had Jeff Beck as well. But
I met Roger Daltrey.
I know. You said
Parliament.
before.
Yeah, he actually came up to me and
said, "Who are you?"
And I was quite stunned. Really, he knew who I was, which was a big thing for me, sort of growing up with that sort of music. But look, you said a time's up, Mark. It's you mentioned that you loved the Goons.
Yeah.
Back in the day. We've got some good news. The Goons are coming on next. We've got Right versus Left with Andy 12s and Aman Bagel.